Warm greetings. Welcome to Wednesdays for Water. We are a citizens collective aiming to walk and talk water. We try to meet every week and connect people with various water worries and wisdoms. And in the process, we wish to curate future water warriors. The way we talk about trivial things for hours, water too needs walking and talking to address the rising water distresses. The way Wednesdays for Water is conceptualized as a prime time show, it wishes to make water everybody's business. The idea of the series was conceptualized in August 2020, and by the end of the year, the team and the structure was pretty much in shape. We started in April 2021 with Dr. Rajendra Singh's inaugural speech. We wish to bring science and society together, and therefore we try to bring in every session either a policymaker or practitioner and a researcher or academician. We also think that future generation is crucial and therefore they have presence in each session. We are going stronger with every week now with session on either quiz, couple of weeks of hard talks and a week of soft session of art and music. There is a simple structure for each session of quiz, hard session and soft session which are moderated by the core team member. Here is a glimpse of what we call as hard sessions and soft sessions.
Hello everyone and welcome to Wednesdays for Water session on urban lake governance and sustainability. We at Wednesdays for Water is a group of water enthusiasts from Pan India, and we've come together to initiate a communication series to discuss about the worries and wisdom related to water. So today on this platform, we have gathered to discuss about urban lakes and specifically the governance and sustainability part, which does not involve discussion on the design and the development part of lakes. So we are going to focus on the governance part. That's the main agenda of the discussion today. And I'll just brief everyone about the Wednesdays for Water team, how we have about ourselves and how we work about. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So our concept was actually to make water as the everyday talk, and we realized that the crisis of water is something that needs to be, draw attention of people, and it has to be something that needs to be addressed by everyone, and it does not take too much effort in it, but even it can be a part of your everyday routine. And that's how we started. First of all, the focus of creating awareness, and then we can work towards action of improving the water scenario and working towards water crisis. So we have a 4 weeks concept of on Wednesdays we are active, and we do a week. A week is dedicated for the quiz on the topic of water. We have a couple of weeks which are dedicated on hard topics where we call experts, and we have a discussion on topics which are concerning to day-to-day activities about water, water resources, wastewater, and all sort of water forms. We have 1 week dedicated to as a soft session where we try to collaborate with artists and people who are working on towards water but are working through different platforms. So that's a collaborative platform there. Sometimes when we have extra week, then we take that for servicing and improving our own approach to the entire program. So as I said, that the quiz, there's a week dedicated to quiz. So the quiz week has it's mainly focusing on the youth, involving the youth, as we realize that the youth participation is utmost critical in today's scenario for working towards water. The hard session involves a moderator, and there are 1 or 2 experts from the society, and a young discussant again is involved in this to take the discussion forward and to have a one-on-one experience with the moderator and with the experts so that they can have a discussion about their doubts or about their experiences. The soft session has a moderator and an artist, like I said previously, and we showcase the screening. Sometimes it's recorded, sometimes we do have live recordings, live performances also. So water as a team, we got connected, and there are two institutes that have collaborated with us currently: the TIS Institute, the Tata Institute of Social Science, and the Terry Institute of Advanced Studies. So we have experts from both the institutes and the youths involving in this entire program. They come forward and they are showcasing their research works, their working towards the water crisis. And we have Mansee ma'am from ETRC Ahmedabad. We have Counterview as our media partner, where we often publish our articles on these discussions that we have. And we have Fluxion from where we have Ganesh, who's working from Bangalore towards the industrial aspect of water use. And his company is doing working towards saving water, which is basically metering the water that is being used in the industries. Mansee ma'am is also a part of WICI, which is Women's International Commerce of. Sorry, I'm not very sure of the WICI. Mansee ma'am will be able to expand more on that. But so we have the different platforms collaborating with us on this, and that's how we came forward. These are the platforms that you can get in touch with us for any inquiries, any collaborations, or any projects, workshops that you, or even a simple discussion or a chat on water, most welcome. So today's session, I come back to the urban lake governance and sustainability, where we are hoping Madhulika ma'am can join in. She is working towards the lake development based in Hyderabad, but she's also working on different other lakes, pan-India, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Chennai, and Telangana also. Mansee ma'am, like we all know, has been working towards water and since the last 25 years, and has immense experience in working towards water in all forms, even as an entrepreneur, as an educationer, and as a mentor to every one of us. And we'll be having a discussion with Richa, who will be joining in half the session, and we'll have a further discussion with that. So I don't think Madhulika ma'am has joined in, so I would.
I've joined.
Oh, you. Hello, ma'am.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. So I'll just briefly introduce everyone with to Madhulika ma'am. So she is a software engineer and from Jaipur basically, but she is now a resident of Hyderabad. She's also a certified pollution monitor with the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change from Hyderabad. She started her own trust called Dhruvansh, which is working towards the environment protection and lake restoration. She has recently restored a 25-acre Neknampur Lake in Hyderabad with no sewage diversion, which is usually the approach seen towards lake rejuvenating a lake or saving a lake. But she has managed to do that with only integrated wetland management system. So the lake is now a biodiversity-rich tourist park and is also recognized by the Central Pollution Control Board, the Ministry of Environment and Forest, and also by the National Environment Engineering Institute. Apart from this, like I said, they are working on various other lakes in India, and they've won national recognition and awards from the Government of India. So without taking much more of everyone's time, I would like Madhulika ma'am to share her experience of lake governance while she was working in Hyderabad and throughout her own entire journey so far. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And thank you, Mansee ma'am, for giving this opportunity. I hope my voice is audible.
Yes, you are audible. Yeah. Thank you, Madhulika. Please go ahead.
Particular lake for water. Actually, the name is it on the Twitter also, but this name is definitely very beautiful. And the thought which you people have trying to actually talk about the water, and more talks about the water. It is very much important. And apart from that, all these things, when we come with the I mean, water should be there. Yes, we know that water should be there, but where you will keep that water, you need a utensil, right? You need something where you can actually keep the water. And these water keeping elements or the restoring elements are nothing but the lakes. So I've seen the people are working on the rivers. I've seen the people working on water harvesting pits. So I mean, in case of the water, if you come about, there are a lot of things where you have an opportunity to work upon. I would suggest that lucky enough, I got an opportunity to work on the lakes, and this is all. I always give the whole credit goes to the Mother Nature, who is continuously together with me in this particular field. But yes, I have observed, and now I'm writing continuously that a lake is actually a lake, or any of the water body is actually totally a representation of that particular community or that area. Right. So suppose if you say that, okay, ma'am, with this lake, can you tell about the best? Right. Everything what we in that particular area, the people go, which school the nearby students going to, and recently there is someone in that particular community or in that particular area, not I can find just standing on that particular lake. So lake gives you all the information of that particular community. And if the community, if you want to restore or rejuvenate a lake or a water body, it is very much necessary that that particular community or the nearby area has to be rejuvenated parallelly. This is what I have actually experienced with all my work, no doubt. I'm continuously working on floating treatment wetlands. I'm doing a lot of research where I'm trying to involve the college students also, because sometimes I don't like when the people do not have time to see their neighborhood, but they are very much interested to go and check what is the e-waste management in the outer space. So taking such kind of the projects, I would prefer them that they talk about those projects which is in their nearby area, and they can work on that. So this is what I'm working with different kind of the colleges, to trying or to bring the people here with the electricity, mechanical engineering, computer engineering, any kind of the engineering you do on the lake. And this is how I'm involving the school students and college students with this particular lake, because the lake for me should be, I believe, everything. You start with the spirituality, you start with normal engineering, you start with biology or chemistry, math, everything involved. What what I have observed working on this particular lake, some of these floating treatment wetlands, where they are working very well. As per circumstances, we have we have floating treatment wetlands, then we have floating aerators of the 2 horsepower, which we have able to produce all over India, and they are quite working well. We have introduced to many other lakes, and then again introducing slowly other changes also. But as uh, we people know, right, the until unless we will start thinking individually, right, these bigger projects should change. Sustainability cannot be with any concretization. Sustainability comes with only few people's will. It has to come with a very longer tail. Why I'm telling you? I have observed. This is what happens just back home only. People talk about don't cut the tree, don't cut the tree on the Twitter. Right. So Twitter, I've seen the people that everybody is writing and giving in the newspaper. Okay, we should protect the forest, we should protect the Twitter, we should protect the trees. But when it comes on the ground level, everybody needs a road. So when everybody needs a road, then why the government is doing wrong thing? Because actually in a democracy, what happens is what the people demands, and people are actually demanding only roads. This is continuously from, I think, from last 6 months I'm only talking on this particular topic, right? Because this
Madhulika,
particular
your voice is breaking. Huh? Sorry to interrupt. Your voice is
yeah,
breaking
thank
in
you,
between.
yeah, ma'am, thanks for the input. Am I audible better now? Better now?
Better, but
Hello?
I think something is moving and in between your voice gets broken.
Oh my God. Okay, okay. Just hold on. There must and that is
Not
the reason
hearing at
maybe
all.
my oh my God, I'm so sorry. You should have informed me earlier.
No, no, right now
Okay,
I'm not. Yeah, it is. Sometimes we hear very clear and
okay.
sometimes it gets broken.
Is
So
it better
maybe
now? You tell me,
Yes,
is
better,
it better?
better. Please go
Yeah.
ahead.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are the few things. Whatever I'm telling is I mean, for me, the lake. Every day when I went to the lake or when I go to the lake, I have different challenges which I'm continuously facing. So as I'm telling you that very just I would like to share the recent one that earlier this lake was seasonal lake. Means seasonal lakes only it is rain fed. So when it was a rain fed, so that time only the outlet of the lake used to work. So rest of the time the outlet is totally closed. So since outlet is closed, the people have constructed their house on the outlet. But now the lake is converted from perennial because it is now a switch water lake. Right. So this is a recent fight now going on that people who are living in the downstream of the lake, they do not want lake. Why? Because now the continuously the water is going out from the lake, which is filling their houses. Right. And during the monsoon, this particular thing increases manyfold. So these, I mean, when you just take one subject, you will find out that so many of the issues, those community who is living around the lakes or the water bodies have themselves, they don't actually want lakes because they have created completely a kind of the area where they have assumed there will not be any lake in the future. So accordingly, they have constructed the house. So whether you go for the upstream or whether you go for the downstream, on both the side of the lakes, these are the basic. I mean, why I'm discussing because recent these are all the recent issues which I just in the morning only I have a very hot discussion and then I return back to the home. So I observed that we talk so much about the water, right? And I'm continuously taking so much of the awareness programs. Every Sunday I do a lot of awareness programs at the lake, trying to mobilize the school students, trying to mobilize the college students, giving different varieties of the flavors of the subjects, so that at least they should be attached to the water bodies, they should be attached to the water. And then I'm totally discussing that recycling of the water is very much important. Even the sewage water is very good water if it can be used properly, because in my particular lake, the lake has become a kidneys of landscape. So kidneys of landscape means that it is continuously cleaning the sewage water into optimum fresh water, and it is successfully working. But even after going through all those things and working so much of the water, still I find out that the mindset of the people, it's not ready to accept that water is going to end or we have any kind of shortage of the water. The people are totally feel that these environmentalists or these climate activists, they just make a hue and cry, and nothing is happening. It's just a donation drives, so that they can take out the money on the name of the saving the water. This is the basic. I mean, you can say CSR companies will come just for a photography and they just save the water. They will just pick up the boats and go. They do not want to do anything on the ground level because their image should not be damaged. This is again one of the biggest problem. Working on the water, working on the water bodies, working on the lakes means your image is at the stake. So this is one very big problem which I'm facing here in the Hyderabad especially. And since it's a growing city, so that means you can understand the growing city means that how much the water bodies encroachment is going on continuously. And every other big builder is somewhere making nearby houses, and those houses, all the forest officer are taking those those houses and residing just next to the lake. That is again a very big irony, that all the forest department directors and PCCF, they are coming and staying in those houses. So as I keep on discussing with the Mansi ma'am, that this is what I'm just telling you, the exact 2 days, 3 days, 4 days back scenarios. Whatever it is happening from last, you can say 2 and 3 months, I'm fighting for a road. I do not want road at the bund, at my lake bund. I do not want lake bund. I want it to be that it should be only for two wheelers or cyclers. It should not be for four wheelers or above four wheelers. So for that particular thing, I'm getting so much opposition that people want road only. Right? They do not want bund. Why? Why I do not want the road? Because the people drive so fast, and now at this particular road, and now at this particular band we have a lot of I mean both the sides we have a very beautiful trees. So we have a lot of peacocks, mongoose, civet cat, pythons. So many of the biodiversity has come up. Now this biodiversity, when it's crossing the band, the people who drive four wheelers, they actually crush all this biodiversity. And if we made it a pakka road, that it means their speed will be 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers maybe. And then I cannot tell you that how much biodiversity they are going to kill. So to protect that the biodiversity, I do not want road over there. But here now the rest of the community, rest of the public is, no, we want road, we want road, there should be road here. So I am observing that is still the people are more on, like I always say, that WhatsApp warriors, Twitter warriors, and Instagram warriors are available everywhere. But still there is a very hardcore need for the ground level warriors. So as you people are going ahead, and I'm expecting that this group is grow to many fold. So I all of you, I want that wherever it is possible, please participate in the ground level activities, so that you will came to know the realities of that particular area. And whenever you raise the voice, your voice will actually hit the right target. Otherwise, when we just talk about or we just have a Twitter fights or Twitter, it actually takes us to nowhere, which is happening in the Hyderabad. So many kind of the environmentalists which is taking birth on an everyday basis. But how much you are going to affect the environment, how much you are bringing the ground real change is really matters. So again, I mean, Mansi ma'am know that these are the regular fights. And sustainability, again, when it comes to the word sustainability, now sustainability never means that you have to be constant. I always say that sustainability means constant change. Change has to be there. Today Madhulika is taking care, tomorrow somewhere else will come. Right? Maybe another Soumya will be there. Maybe another Mansi will be there. So that means sustainability means that people should again come again and again, and fight for their rights, fights for the right thing, fight for the waters. That is sustainability. Madhulika will always be there. It is not called the sustainability. So sustainability means a constant change should be there, but with that constant change always come when the communities start taking their responsibilities as far as possible, and as far as they involve themselves with the environment. As whenever I'm talking about the houses, I mean, I will not take much of your time. Madam told me that 10 to 15 minutes I have to talk, so I'll not go much beyond that. Otherwise it will be too long. So whenever you are taking care of your house, you always remember that our garbage goes out of our house, our carbon dioxide that also goes out of our house. Even our sewage also goes out of our house. So in that case, we again has to stand up and go out of the house to protect the environment. If we can create a system where none of these things go out of the house, then okay, fine. Just taking care of our home will be sufficient, and we will be protecting the environment in a very larger way. But if we are not able to stop the carbon dioxide, stop the sewage water, and stop the garbage going out from the house, make it sure that we have to go along wherever our sewage, garbage, and our carbon dioxide is going, and we have to find out the solutions. So my organization is the Ruanch organization, and we are doing a lot of lakes here in the Hyderabad and in southern area. And our main expertise is to convert the sewage water into optimum fresh water using the integrated wetland management system, as you told. And apart from that, I'm really working hard with the community with a lot of projects so that a sustainable revenue generation model can be created all around this lake, and the community will be involved with all the flavors again. Right, I cannot expect that everybody can be the fighter. I expect that every can somebody can be a butterfly protector, somebody can be a fish protector, somebody can be plants protector. So whatever the way the community wants to involve, I'm trying to create such kind of the projects where they can come and protect. But yes, ultimate target is the lake protection or water bodies protection. So I will end with my tagline: my earth, my responsibility. And I'm very serious about it, that this particular challenge or this particular campaign has to be go forward and go for a very longer period of time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. I realize that you have put quite an effort in saying that we need to really work on ground, and that is something that we all have been we all have experienced partly or in a way involved in some or the other projects on ground. Today, even on social media, that we are doing our work, but on ground work definitely speaks louder, and there's more action to see. I would just like to share my experience in how I got involved in the water journey. I started my water journey during my master's, and I took up as a research project and understanding the governance part of the Gundalak Talab in Kishangarh, Rajasthan. And during my study, I also found that the community plays a very important role in the lake sustainability and surviving of the lake. But the dominance of lake governance is very high, highly limited to the only few models which are mainly seen as lake development for recreation. So the research actually, through the research, I found that the Gundalak Talab is a active socio-ecological system, and the lake governance structure should reflect the role of people in their mechanism. But in this case, there was a missing link between the operational level of stakeholders. The community was not actively coordinating with other stakeholders, and this gap was actually affecting the lake in a way. So the further that I studied the lake, I realized that there are ways of involving the community, and the current lake governance for this site was only by filling the horizontal communication gap that was there. Mansee ma'am was one of my guides who had actually actively helped me in this research work. So I would just ask her to take initiative and add to the lake governance part, and share her experience in her journey of how the community plays a role in lake governance and sustainability. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Madhulika. As usual, you set the platform on fire. I was really expecting that. And you bring the pain from the ground. And that's where I always feel that you and me make a very good chemistry. Huh? Because I will try to just theorize things which you were talking about. And thank you, Megha, for putting the session in good order. So I would start with the point where Madhulika left and Megha instigated a question on how to really get community on board. The very idea of governance itself has to be looked differently, because even community and the government thinks that governance is by the government. So the definition of governance is, it's a very generic definition: who does what, on whose authority, on whom, in which circumstances, using what mechanisms. So if we start decoding this, we already know that governance is already embedding all the stakeholders. And when I say all the stakeholders, from my Indore experience, working on the ground on our 100 resilient cities, I can say that stakeholders are not limited to government or the community. We already have corporates, and which also includes all the private sectors. And then a major stakeholder is the research organizations and academicians who work on it, including young students who work on these kind of projects. So if we look at how we are really going ahead with the governance, we will already see multi-tiers. And that's where the problem starts with our urban lakes particularly. We first need to distinguish between urban lakes, rural lakes, hinterland lakes. We also need to distinguish between lakes, ponds, and wetlands. I'm not going in detail of it, but ironically, all the village ponds which are becoming lakes because we are digging them deeper. So we are already in the process of changing the ecosystem of lakes. So when I start talking about ecosystem and I start reflecting upon the documents which are produced for the urban lake so-called conservation and management, you first see in the front page of the document, it is the urban lake development. This whole discourse between development and conservation is not happening. It is primarily lake development which is happening in urban lake, and that's where we already deviate from the need of the lake and need of the community from the lake. So actually very rightly put by Madhulika that everybody wants water, but nobody wants to engage in the water body. So as a scientist, I'm always talking about that water and water bodies are two different things. They have a convergence, but their management is happening very, very divergingly. And this is where we also start having problem. And the very first problem is that communities' comprehension of the water and water bodies. How do they see it together? Do they see it together? No, they don't see it together. They think that water is coming from far and this lake is very dirty because somebody is not taking care of it. Very rightly said by Madhulika that if we really want to do anything about the lakes, we have to start looking from our house to the drainage channel to the solid waste where it goes. So I would like to tell one line from here: everything goes into the water bodies. Everything we produce, every water we consume, 80% of it lands up in the water body. And the water body can be of any size, and ironically, because of the high density in urban areas, it lands up in the lakes. Now, what are we wanting from these urban lakes? The value of the water bodies. Unfortunately, the whole lake development discourse talks about the development for recreation, for human recreation, again, very anthropocentric. And very rightly said by Madhulika that what about the birds? What about the animals? You find me a lake document, lake development DPR, detailed project report, where they talk about, and the consultant and the local authority claims that this lake development project will bring in 100 types of birds and 100 types of fish. I'm just giving an example. Is it in our agenda of lake development? It is not, because it is lake development. So I have already started questioning the word development itself. So that brings me to the point of the governing mechanism. So what kind of mechanisms we have? We are actually using the mechanism driven by development. So now if I just give an example, I'll give one example because there are many layers of development, from provision to maintenance to funding to who is going to do what. I'm just going to give example of funding, and I quote example from my current projects from, let's say, Mathura and other places where I'm working. You see, all the development initiatives are all about how much concrete to be poured in the lake, how much steel, how much brick, how much stone. That is the language we talk about a soft water body or a soft ecosystem. We really are not talking about what kind of ecosystem we want to generate, because everything is about recreation. Lake is not a recreational entity. Lake is a life-saving entity. I think we need to change that narrative in the development discourse. So that brings me to now where does this discussion between community and government can actually converge, and we can really talk about ecosystem. I also wish to be short because I want discussant to be taking the leading role in the conversation today. So I think we have to really bring into 2 points: our perception about the water bodies, about the urban lakes, and our preference from the urban lakes. And this is where we do not have convergence. And rightly said by Madhulika, we all want water, good water in our house, and we don't care about the bad water in the water bodies. And this is what also local authorities are also burdened with, because we are reflecting our demands from our behavior as community. So if we want lakes as parks, they are providing us parks. If we want road from the lake side, they are providing road. If we want land from the lake, they are providing us land. So there is no point blaming the government for the mistakes which are happening in the society. I say it in every platform that government is nothing but my mama, chacha, bua, masi, whatever you can call. Government is made up of these people. So if we are not able to converge at home, at our social circle, professional circle, there is already a problem. And I will give example here to bring an end to my talk about how the convergence is not happening, because a water body is a piece of land with water. And that's where the problem starts in urban lakes, because we value land. We talk about lake development only to appropriate the land to increase the land value around the lake. There are classic examples. It was also my MPhil thesis where I actually showcased that how the land price changes to 10 to even 20 times when a lake development happens. So everybody is interested in urban lake management and development. I'm just giving one example as land. There are many other examples. So our perception of lake is a piece of land without water. It is a land. And this is how we have lost more than half of the lakes in the country. Because ironically, sorry, I'm getting emotionally carried away. The first lake conservation plan which came up in the country, that was NLCP, which is now NPCA, actually made us lose more lakes than ever. I give example from Ahmedabad. When I did my master's thesis, the Ahmedabad showcased the entire metropolitan region, more than 600 lakes. When this National Lake Conservation Plan comes in, every local authority has to highlight and delineate and designate the urban lakes. We are left with only 123. Hyderabad is left with 80. Bangalore is left with even lesser. So this whole development narrative where now every local authority has to designate a water body as water body through the legal framework, we have actually lost more. And now those which are lost, people like Madhulika, people like Anand, they are actually talking about saving those which are left. So we have already lost the half. These people, warriors on the ground, are talking about saving the half. And I am really just talking about, please talk about them. And I will stop here. Some of you know that I can really go on talking about lakes for months. I cannot stop. So I will stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mansee ma'am. That was really helpful and rightfully said that we need to look at sustainability of lakes in a whole ecosystem way. And it's not only the mankind that profits from the lake, but also the birds and the fishes and other living organisms that needs to be reconsidered while we are looking at surviving of a lake. I would like to introduce Richa Garg now as a discussion. She's a student. She was a student who's just completed her master's in landscape from the CEPT University, Ahmedabad, and she is also a water enthusiast. She has worked on a research towards governance of the Ajmer Lake, and I will give her the platform to talk about her experience of working on for the governance and understanding the lake governance part. Thank you, Richa.
Thank you so much, Megha. And thank you, Mansee ma'am and Madhulika ma'am, for the insights that you have given into the practical aspects, Madhulika ma'am and Mansee ma'am, for the enlightenment on the discourse on governance, and intriguing our knowledge on DPR and what needs to be done more on the DPR and how to make it inclusive on ecology. So Madhulika ma'am, I have a few questions. When I did my research on Anna Sagar Lake, and it was also a very peculiar lake. And as Mansee ma'am, I would pick it up from where Mansee ma'am has, she's left a palla for me to catch it and move on. So as she said that the lake is a land covered with water, and I actually felt that when I was doing Anna Sagar, it has got 10,000 private land ownership, khatedari, which is not, this is a lake which is not owned by government, it is owned by private people. And I could feel that as a hindrance, a political hindrance in the governance, because this lake belongs to people and still it couldn't be governed by people. The governance was still with the government. So I just want to know, during your working on Neknampur Lake, how did you bridge the gap between governance and the government?
This is something still I'm not good. I am proper Gunda. I am properly Gunda, right? And so just forget it. This particular governance cannot be come up. It is just impossible. I am just a citizen of India, and being a citizen of India, many people object me when I call it my lake. Right, so many people has done FIR on me when I'm calling it my lake. So I told them that we have taken the pledge, my country. So what you are talking about my lake, the whole country is mine. So you can say that sometimes I have to behave like a proper enlightened citizen. And here there is, I never had any permissions for the lake. Very frankly, I'm telling you, nobody will give you the permissions to work on the lake, right? I have permissions to maintain the lake or to maintain the 1 lakh plantation, what I have done at the lake. So I am indirectly protecting the lake. I do not have any kind of, in fact, we have a lot of regularly I have a fights at the lake. So police people came to me and tell me that show me your papers where you have a permission to protect the lake. Why are you protecting the lake? Well, who are you to protect the lake? I mean, police people, they directly, why are you protecting? What you are getting over here? You don't have any other job. You go and do, why are you protecting the lake? So even the police people come and tell me these things many times to me. So the simple thing is that you will never get any kind of the permission or adoption, nothing like that, because it's a public property, one thing. And it's not actually a public property. The lake is still the private pattas and public pattas, because in India we do not have any lake act. And you have, as you have tree act, as you have Volta act, right? But still there is nothing called a lake act. Whatever this NLCP and all these things are, they are not at all effective. Still they are not effective. I'm continuously trying to wetland, and many meetings are happening, committees are becoming, but nothing is happening on the ground level. Because in my condition, I mean, if you don't believe that the Neknampur 1 acre is 10 crores.
Your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking. Am I?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, Madhulika, your voice is breaking. No. Do we have her still?
I think we lost her. So, in fact,
Okay.
So I would just take the conversation ahead where she actually ended, that 1 acre of the lake is costing 10 crores. But my question is that what is that 1 acre? Is it the water, or is it the land, or is it a parcel of both the things? So if the lake is actually seen as a parcel of the entire ecology that survives on it and sustains on it, then I would say that 1 crore is nothing but it would be much more priceless, in fact. So that I think that was
Am I audible?
Yes.
Now you are. Now you are. Please continue.
Yeah, so this thing is that you have to maintain the relationship. Just you have to maintain. I'm talking to the officers and trying to inform them everything. Otherwise, it's really difficult. And this is the reason why the public is not easily coming up, because the mafias, they do not want the citizens to work on the lakes. So these are the situations. In fact, many other people are in Hyderabad which wants to adopt the lake, which wants to work on the lakes, but because what in a community, mafia, politicians, as na chacha, bhabhi, bhatije, and all mama mosi. So what the Mansee ma'am is telling is absolutely right, that a community is itself is composed of everything. Right, the consequence or the ingredients of the community is very tricky, and due to the reason, if somebody wants to protect something, nobody wants. And in fact, the lake is still a sensitive part. You go and try to protect the park, maybe that is a better area, but lakes is still a very notorious topic, and hardly people wants to join. No, I finished now.
Sorry, I was muted. So like he said that, yeah, we really need to get on the ground and actually take things in our hands to get the change that we want to see. Like it said, that change starts from one own self. And instead of expecting the government to do the part or anybody else to do the part, you could set an example by actually doing it yourself, and then let people follow if they want to. But at least one effort is already there, and I'm very sure that looking at that effort, people will join hands. So over to you, Richa. Do you have anything more to add?
Yes, definitely. It's an opportunity to learn from ma'am and know more of her experiences. So, Madhulika ma'am, during the course of my study, I also realized that Ajmer, being a very small place, had a very strong sense of belonging. As you said, my lake. So people had the same kind of a feeling towards their lake, but they did not have the path to contribute towards it. And invariably, the entire setup, the government part of it was the same mama chacha bhanja. So behind the department, they would sit into their own cabins and form the rules, and when they come out, it was all relationship, but those relationships were not benefiting people to put them on a path towards that sense of belonging and get them to community working towards the lake. So can you please share your some initial incidents of how you got the community inspired towards working with you towards the lake?
I mean, very difficult questions you are asking, guys, right? Because my story is really tough story. And when I started in Hyderabad, and all the environmentalists here in the Hyderabad, they opposed me, right? Because here there was a kind of information to the people that if you want to protect a lake, you should go through the court only. You have to fight in the high courts, and nothing on the ground level is possible. And apart from that, fishermen or the farming people whose responsibility used to be the responsibility of the lakes, they also have left all their responsibilities. So in such situation, in such uh, guys, can I have a break, please?
Yeah, sure.
Not from you guys, my
Okay.
family here. Not from you, actually. I have two. Just hold on. Dhruv, इसको लेके जाओ यार. इसको बाहर लेके जाओ, बाहर लेके जाओ इसको.
I would like to.
It's so human, you know, when we have kids popping up in the webinars, I really love it. It's just very human.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
So in initial condition, 1.5 year, you won't believe, none of the person is with me. And I was blacklisted. I was literally blacklisted that this particular lady has some bad interest. in the lake, and she want to totally take away this particular lake. So nobody from the nearby welfare associations or from the environmentalists, they came and supported me. And the problem with me is that I shifted from computer engineering to this particular field, and I was shocked that why people are behaving with me like this, right? I was so much criticized in the newspapers and everywhere, as if I'm in a big manner, right? I cannot read the Telugu papers, and in every Telugu paper my name is there, that this particular lady. So I was so much highlighted where I've done nothing. I've not started my work. I didn't get any award, nothing that time. I was just zero, you understand? I was at the zero, and still I was getting so much of the criticism, which was a shock for me. So initial days was guys really pathetic with me. And you understand ना, वो बोलते हैं कि सर मुंडाया और ओले पड़े. I do not started my organization, and I faced so many of the issues. But I think that that Mother Nature wants me to learn. Mother Nature wants me to do something, and that is the reason I was getting so much of the blame. So I now I am thankful to that kind of the criticism, which gives me a power that, Madhulika, now this is a challenge. Now you have to beat. You will not leave your mission. You will not leave your target. So the more and more people were criticizing me, more and more I was becoming target oriented and focused oriented, that now whatever happens, I will protect this lake, and I will not let all these vested interest people to come and throw me out. So I've seen that people from the, in fact, from the government side also, people are coming and telling me that in Hindi, I hope everybody understand Hindi in this particular group.
Yes, please
Right,
go
suppose,
ahead.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah. So one of the officer told me कि मधुलिका, हाँ मधुलिका, जब तक कलेक्टर है तब तक तुम बची हुई, उसके बाद तुम गायब कर देंगे तुमको. तो ये मुझे गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर्स यूज्ड टू कम एंड गिव मी द थ्रेट्स दैट तुम पता भी नहीं चलेगा कहाँ चली गई तुम. So I've gone so many of the thoughts. So that's the reason I came to know that people do not want anybody to work on the ground level. Otherwise, real change will come, and nobody wants change. Even many good people used to tell me that, Madhulika, whatever you are doing, just be in the newspapers, right? Get the publicity, but don't try to bring the change. So these are the things which are continuously telling me, oh, please get the publicity. Nobody is stopping you. Be on the Twitter, get the publicity, but don't try to bring the change. So I was literally surprised by the behavior of the people. But now I've seen that change is started, and change is coming, because people are now following me. A lot of people have now jumped into this particular lake. What you call lake revolutions or the lake restorations, and they are literally fighting with the government, which I really love. And in fact, they come every Saturday, Sunday, and they spare 2 hours to do the cleaning drives or do the plastic awareness, which is very much needed. So I always say, only just 2 hours, just 15 days, once in a 15 days, 2 hours at the lake, but please come and join at the lake. So people have started working. Different kind of the culture is coming in the Hyderabad, which is showing a lot of difference. So this is, guys, it was not a very good story. My story is not a very cakewalk. It is full of cactus, lot of cactus I have seen. But yes, I'm quite satisfied. I learned a lot. I am now at least a good citizen. I would say this to you.
Your story is a catharsis that has led you to being a lake lady. And now every question that I ask, I think that this would be my last question, but your answers intrigue me into another one. So I have one more for you. From software engineer to environmental management, what was your calling which took you to being a lake lady? And living through all this hardships, these hurdles, it still keeps you going.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. But one thing is that whenever I see my kids' face, so my kids, I see that, okay, what they will think about me, right? And being a mother, you have to give a good impression on your kids, right? that you are a good mother and you are a very challenging mother. So sometimes I feel that this kind of the parenting which I want to do or to give my kids, this is really a driving force, because my kids literally taunt me, "Mummy, kya hua? Kuch hua nahi?" So my kids are very naughty, and they always have some kind of, "Mummy, pass ho jaogi na, mummy." So this is again one of the driving force for me, very big driving force for me, to give property as a legacy, fresh air, fresh water, and a good citizen, rather than giving a good amount of money. I really don't want to give them a monetary property to them. I really passionate to give them the good air, good water, and a good citizen, right? With thoughts that I really want my kids to be in India and they work for my country. And I tell them that India is the best country, and I have observed that. Apart from that, from the computer engineering to come in this particular field, actually, when I was in 10th class, there I was very much fond of this Greenpeace. They used to save the whales, right? I hope everybody know that in the Canada, the Greenpeace was very famous, and they were saving the whales. So that was fire in me, and I want to join as a geologist. But my parents, I was good in studies, so my parents told me that, okay, you do the computer engineering first, and after that, when you done with you just go for your passion. So I decided that if I want my kids to follow their passion first, I have to follow my passion. And this is my passion, that I want to work for the environment, for the science and the research, which is all, when I work on when I see the lake, it's just full of researches. So that from my eyes, I want my kids to see the world, and then I want them to follow whatever they want to do it. And if they will get the criticism, I am ready, because I know that what is the real world is, and I have observed, I have faced all that criticism, so I am a stronger person now. Right? What happened, we all are living in a shell, right? So I want to break the shell. I want to know myself, that how much, okay, people call me that I am an intelligent person, but I want to test my intelligence here, that whether I really belong to something. But now I believe, no, nobody is intelligent. It's a mother nature who just make you do the things. I am going through so much of the satisfaction, realization. I cannot tell you guys. This is just a different world, right? It's a different world when you work for the environment. It's just a different world when you work with the society. And I am a better mother, as I am telling you. So guys, what happened na, when you take such kind of the transitions period, your decisions, everything affects your life, right? Everything affects your personality, everything, your kids, because my kids were very small. They were in UKGs and the second and third class when I took this risky decision of my life. My parents totally told me that they will not support me. My parents, my in-laws, and my real parents both, though my parents belong to scientist community only, they retired from Siri Pilani, but still they told that we are not in with you. These particular acts are notorious, and activism is not a good thing in India. You have a better thing to do. Why you want to join this activism? In fact, still my dad told me that Madhulika, ye activist na acha nahi lagta, kuch aur rakho. Right? I do not know why this activist word is I mean, people don't like this. They have a different kind of thoughts about this, right? So I want to bring all these things in a regular stream, and I want to tell them that active mind means an active person, an active person means an activist. And if you are a educated person, your mind should be active to ask the question and voice and raise your voice for the voiceless. This is very much necessary, and we are not doing what our job, why we have taught, why we are getting so much of the good education, just to keep the degrees and to tell, oh, I am PhD, oh, I am MPhil. No, these degrees have a meaning, right? So that meaning should be given a thought to the people. I don't know how much I've given right answer to you. I'm
No,
sorry.
I totally agree with what you're saying, that we actually take inspiration from our day-to-day people around us, and we need to actually take much more like action on the ground. And your story has been actually inspiring, because you've changed fields and yet you are so powerfully doing your work, and it's really inspiring to hear your story throughout. I just keeping in mind that it's already 6 o'clock, I would like to ask Richa if she has one more last question. We'll take Mansee ma'am would like to answer that, or any other participants who would like to question, uh, have any question or query about this thing, we can take that up, or we can. I can conclude with one question from my end, whatever is comfortable, Richa.
As you like it. Though I have one question for Mansee ma'am, I would utilize
Yeah,
this
please,
platform
please
and
go
this is
ahead.
one thing of her flavor. So there was this leader who once said, to make changes in India, you need to revolutionize everything. So like Namami Gange became a revolution and it got rolled in. So do Mansee ma'am believe in this, that actually we need to put it into a revolution to bring the change?
I think we are always looking for big things. And if you really are being from theoretical side, I will stick to my role today. If you really want to see the real definition of governance, the details, God lies in details. And the narrative which Madhulika presented is the detail of it. We all love everything best, first, and anything and everything, but the smallest unit of governance is the citizen of India, of this country, or any society for that matter. So if a person like Madhulika can go on the ground and bring a change, if a person like you or Megha or Anand, I'm seeing many people known to me, you have to really look at that direction. I know I have a very good friend here, an IPS officer, Sudha, is also attending today. And I know my mentor, Madhu Verma, is also here. So all know the smallest unit of governance is the individual and then community. What Madhulika really raised an issue is that whether we are wanting to have these urban lakes or not. And if we want to have it, and she is really told it in a very soft manner about that she wants to leave a world for her children in a better situation. So now if we want to really relate it with the definition of sustainability, what is it? We want to talk about it to have it appropriate today, but also leave it tomorrow. But if I want to really look at it from the sustainability of the lake, we are misguided to large extent, because our perception of having the lake is either the lake is there with full of water, or people are really looking at the lake as a piece of land to appropriate. All the atrocities with which Madhulika is facing, we are very close friends. I am following her. I really want to support her and platform to give her voice to the people. I have had seen her really facing problems, life-threatening problems. Now, the life-threatening problem is actually coming from the point that the lake is seen as a piece of land. And this is where the development discourse has to change. And Megha rightly pointed out, when this 1 acre is 2 crore or 20 crore, is accounting the price of the birds, price of the fish, price of the water? No, it is only accounting the price of the land. We are going to have a very separate session on lake development, because that's where we are going to decode everything. And I hope I am one of the person talking about it. I personally am not in favor of revolutions and big changes. I can give example of Lake Biwa from Japan, which started with the women movement who changed their pattern of washing clothes and washing dishes. So they just changed the soap to clean the lake Biwa, which is the largest man-made lake in Japan. So what I'm trying to tell you is that we need not wait for the government to do things for the lakes. Government has to do, but government should do what the society's preference is. My problem lies in society's perception and the preference of urban lakes. You know, society wants urban lake to go for a morning walk, to go and look at the birds. We are actually have become a very big entertaining entities. I was just looking at the Jallianwala Bagh Memorial. My shocking surprise, the way it has been designed. Every lake development has been designed as a piece of amusement park. Amusing whom? We want to see birds, fish, and everything to amuse our children, to amuse ourselves. So on one hand, we want to appropriate the water, and remaining, we just want to amuse ourselves. So we are so short, we are so sadistic that we constantly looking for amusement from everything. A lake has a life by itself. We are dependent on it. That perception, that demand from the community is not getting reflected to the government. Government is a service providing servant. I repeat it in many platforms. It is only providing what we are demanding. So this is where I personally feel that Wednesdays for Water makes a big role, because we want to really change the perception of looking at water through dialogues. You know, water is not only for my drinking and for my entertainment. Water has more to it. So I'm personally really not a big fan of revolutions and big things, though people may perceive me like this many times, the way I speak. But I would like to go to the smallest grain where people like Madhulika, Anand, Probir, I can really name. I have a scholar here sitting who is now actually listing. We have more than 100 lakes we have identified where the smallest grain, the citizen has really come forward and saved a water body. I'm not saying everybody has to go and fight this fight like Madhulika, but the least we can do is change our perception. Why do we need this water body? What do we need out of it? So the very challenge local authorities face themselves about sustainability is what is to be saved. We have our demand tells them what is to be saved. How much is to be saved? Our needs tell them how much is to be saved. In what status it has to be saved. So sustainability definition needs to be decoded further, you know, how long it needs to be saved. If we have lost half of the lakes in 75 years, we are actually, if we go in that speed, I have also studied an article which says in that speed, in 20 years, we are going to lose the remaining. But thankfully, now the entire country talks about urban lakes. 25 years ago, when I was talking about urban lakes, not many people were talking about urban lakes. So hopefully we are not going to lose the remaining half. Even in the remaining half, we have more than 50 lakh water bodies, lakes and ponds and wetlands. So community also needs to talk about it, that the water is coming from here. So Ahmedabad water is not coming from Narmada and Shahdol. And that's why we can go on and make Vastrapur Lake development, Kankaria Lake development only for recreation because water is coming from Narmada. And this is very unsustainable practice. So please do not promote large projects. That's also another topic which I love to talk about, de-development. Please do not promote large projects. A big river is equivalent to hundreds of lakes. And actually, that is where the problem solving lies. If you really want to solve a flood and drought problem, the answer lies in the lakes and the answer lies in the drains, much more than lakes than the drains. So please leave the lakes to its own hall. Just focus on the drains, which are nationally called wasteland. Don't focus on the lakes. Don't do anything. Just don't go there as human beings. Leave them to their hall, to natural rejuvenation. Focus on the drains. I see some beautiful questions there. Megha, would you like to take? I see from Prakash. Hello, Prakash.
Yes, I would like to take that question that Prakash has actually raised on what Madhulika ma'am said, that she faced a lot of backlash from the government officials themselves in Hyderabad. So this has been somewhat seen even in other lakes throughout the pan-India, where the government officials are hesitant in doing anything about the lake, and even to that extent, when anyone else is doing anything about it, they sort of don't support that initiative, and in fact they also discourage that person in approaching or doing anything about the lake. So would you like to, ma'am, share your insights on this, of why is this approach seen that way? Why is it seen as if we are damaging the lake, or is it seen as if we are encroaching the lake more?
I think in 100 years, thank you Prakash, and thanks for coming here. Thank you. I think
you're welcome, please. Thanks, it's my privilege.
Sorry, Prakash, you want to say something?
No, I just said thank you. It's a privilege.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think in 100 years, we have changed the discourse as I started my conversation today, that governance by government. And it is both ways. People want everything to be done by the government, and government itself also feels burdened to do everything by itself, thinking that people will not be able to take care of it or do it. So in this process, we have an alienation process going on with the citizens. Two kinds of alienation, social as well as ecological. Government and community is alienated and distanced. Community and the water body is distanced. So somewhere we are really not having a convergence or a communication between the government and community on it. In this process, government then opts for an option of development which is low maintenance, because government takes the responsibility that I have to develop it, I have to maintain it, because society is going to just come and appropriate. Society is we are actually providing them a recreation center. So society is just, a client for them, not a community for them. And that is making a big burden on the government. I think we need to ease out the government as citizens and say that we want to do for you. Government is not in that position, unfortunately, at this point in time. And that's where they impose their ideas on us. Lake development is an imposition of idea on the community. Nobody goes and asks for lake development. It's a model which has evolved, which is for low maintenance, for the recreation, to keep the community happy, to get the vote bank, and to carve out a piece of land. Mind you, every lake development has led to the reduction of the water body, even by the size of half. So somewhere we cannot keep blaming the government. We have changed that. 100 years ago, community used to take care of every lakes. Even if during the royal time, kingdom time, kings were not bothered about lakes because there was community management. We still have that system in some parts of the rural areas where rural people are still engaged. And I get more, positive examples from rural areas. But luckily now urban areas are also picking up people like Madhulika and now I have a very good Agra who is working on another lake. So people have to come out. There is no other way. Government has to listen to people, and this has to be a tone which people have to understand. Government has to be reminded that they are our servant, and people have to be reminded that they are the master. They have to decide things in the right direction. Government is not doing any mistake. Government is just following our orders. Unfortunately, we have lost our senses as masters. We are thinking ourselves as servant of the government. It's not like that.
Very well said, ma'am. Very well said. And every word of whatever you have presently said, this is perfectly which is going at present. And the problem is that's why sometimes I say, sorry, I'm interrupting you. I can say, right?
Sure, please. I was done
please.
actually. Yeah, thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, and that is why sometimes I say that if the community is uplifted, lakes and environment automatically will be uplifted. Right. The problem is that after the independence, the community has degraded very fast, and especially this Indian community. In fact, all the religions, all these festivals, immersion-oriented festivals, are especially created to take care of the lakes only, to generate the revenue, to protect the lakes. But now what happened? The Ganesha Mandap has 1 lakh, 2 lakhs. Ganesh Mandap, what they create. But when they come to immerse the Ganesh into the lake, they are not at all interested to give 10 rupees also. So somewhere I've seen that this link has to be regenerated again. That these particular all festivals were created to take care of the lakes and to generate the revenue, to protect the lakes and all those things. Yeah.
Very rightly said.
Just now people are actually cursing Ganesha.
Yes.
People are now cursing Ganesh Visarjan without even understanding it.
People are actually coming up with ways of making it more eco-friendly, but they are still doing it to a very large extent. And they need to realize that at the level that they are cutting will not have a huge impact. To see an impact, to see a change, we actually have to take drastic steps. And that is something that only can be done from a bottom-up approach rather than asking the government to do it, which is currently what is happening, the top-down approach. So keeping the time in mind, I would like to take a last question from Akshay. I think he's eager to ask something. So over to you, Akshay.
Yes, thank you, Megha. Thank you very much, Mansee ma'am, to invite me for this wonderful session in which I'm actually learning stories from the ground. I keep on listening from you all the time, but I also see Madhulika ma'am doing her work very, very efficiently in Hyderabad. Although I had one question about what Mansee ma'am initially said, that we have to understand that the lakes go through in a state of alteration when they transfer from hinterlands to an urban lake, and at some point they cross the threshold where there is an area where there is a confusion of an no institutional arrangement, no jurisdiction. Even the rural communities, they are not aware because the urban sprawl is at work. What should be done in that? Because that, I think that is the place where what we do is that once the lake is degraded, the governance question comes in the forefront, that the government has to do something, the community thinks that they have to do something, but it is already late. Yeah, I understand that the efforts have to be constant and we have to work towards it, but my question is that why can't we also focus, because as you mentioned that since most of the motivation of the community also comes from that, because they live in the neighborhood, they think about the lake, because then otherwise it will be health and hygiene issue. So it has seen an active participation from the urban elites, but we tend to forget that these traditional communities, they are on the verge of abandoning their lake as livelihood, and the lakes will be converted into an urban lake, and then the entire discourse of top down bottom up will start. But the actual problem lies outside the city, just at the doorstep. Why nobody is addressing that? Yeah.
I think $1 million question. You're talking about the peri-urban lakes, I think we are really now concerned about peri-urban lakes. A lot of funding is going on. I know at least a couple of projects where European Union has funded peri-urban water bodies. One of the things which we can really start doing, and we are already doing it, it is just now a matter of connecting these dots together, is the census of the lakes, first of all. One path. So it may sound very top down, but unless anything which can be saved requires to be measured, and you are the best person to understand this sitting in ITC. You have to measure something to be able to save or sustain it. So census of lake is something which is going on, and I hope it works on there. But another thing which is more of a governance part of it, which is like from the community perspective, we really have to revive the lake conservation committee approach, just like mohalla cleaning, just like so we did practice that in Indore, and we were successful, to be honest. The lake conservation committee, it took 2 years to deliberate with the community to form a lake conservation committee and get it institutionalized with the Indore Development Corporation. So now anything to be done in that lake, and there is a funding arrangement and also an arrangement of dialogue. So if local authority wants to do anything on that lake, there has to be a discussion with the local lake committee and the local authority. So it's not, we have not yet arrived to a situation where local authority is very happily giving money to the water body, or to the local committee, sorry. The problem lies in the money. If you look at the money which is being now put in the lake development projects across the country, it is really not directly on the lake development, not directly on the water conservation project. The money is going on the lake development, and I'm insisting on it again and again, because lake development is land development. Villagers are also, and peri-urban people who are now urban people more or less by lifestyle, they are aware of this value of land. If now be with NLCP, at least these water bodies have been designated that this is a water body. So one good thing is that we have now designated water bodies. So the trick lies in the delineation, because half we have lost in designation. In fact, more than half we lost in Ahmedabad. So let's say we have 123. Now the trick lies in this 123 lakes, that they will become half in size. And that's where the land comes into picture. And that is where delineation should happen as soon as possible with the designation. Everybody is eyeing for that piece of land around the lake, because for every development you need land, क्योंकि lake के बाहर तो road है, उसके बाहर private property है. To do even plant one tree around the lake, you need a piece of land. And that's where the lake gets compromised. So I will say the data management and also empowering local lake conservation committee. Give them responsibility. I know from Netherlands, you are sitting in Netherlands, you know how even in front of my street, we were given money to take care of the street. Every year, the local authority gives money to take care of the front street, and they inspect whether we have taken care or not. If we have not taken care, the money is taken back with a fine. This is Netherlands. If they have taken care, the next year the money is given with an award. So we have to devise some kind of carrot and stick, mechanism, and it is just, reviving the old traditional system with a new funding mechanism. We don't need rockets. Actually, we don't need a JCB in any lake. Any lake which is going with a JCB approach, any lake which a document which does not have mention of fish and bird and plants, please know that lake development report is just hollow. So I will stop here. People know me, what I can really keep on talking. Sorry.
Thank you, Mansee ma'am. I just want to.
Yes, please continue.
I just wanted to add that, as you rightly said, that there has to be some sort of mechanism. And I recently read in one of the team's report that they are also, in a way, trying to figure out that we have to talk to government in the language they understand.
Yes.
So if you tell them that this lake is worth 1 billion, like not putting a dollar value, a lot of discussion has been also going that we cannot put price on the nature. But in order to negotiate the importance of it, that if they know that along with the land price, the cost of and the value of the entire lake goes to $2 billion US, then I think they would understand that how.
Absolutely. I am waiting a research. Actually, I wrote a proposal some time ago for Toyota Foundation. I did not win that project, but I did write a project where I wanted to do a comparison of how much a lake is worth. Because when we do Sabarmati riverfront, we say we have invested 800 crore rupees. I want to really contest that. What that 800 crore rupees could have done to the urban lakes. Very similarly, every lake, Megha pointed this out. What is the price of the lake? Is it only the price of the land? It is possible now, lake can be monetized. We do have now scientific systems to do that. So I'm waiting a PhD candidate to do that. I'm very much happy to guide that part. I see Prakash has hand raised. So Megha, yes.
Yeah,
Prakash, we can take him quickly.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Fantastic discussion, and I'm so glad that I could come in and
thank you.
Listen to the absolutely insightful and democratized discussion over here. Just one piece of anecdotal experience I want to share with you people. And this whole thing, Mansee, that you mentioned about the big versus small approach to development, which is so very fundamental to this problem and pretty much every other problem that the nation faces today. I think that there is a serious conflict of objectives and methodology. And usually it is the democratized small approach which is going to be a winner. But it ends up being in conflict with what the real intention of those who are wanting to drive the initiative is. And therefore, invariably, the big ends up winning over the small. So I'll give an example. I was once approached by a very high-level committee government. I don't want to name the state government, but it is one of the most significant state governments. So and who himself is an engineer. And I just asked him a question that in terms of going and pitching for investments that you seek as FDI and stuff like that, what do you think is good for the state? Do you want to have one investment of $1 billion, or would you prefer to have 100 investments of $10 million each? What do you think is a better approach to kind of in a shift of culture, like your culture of doing economic activity versus somebody else's culture of doing economic activity, who owns the capital. So everybody in that group agreed that the benefits, the societal benefits of having 100 investments of 10 million each is definitely by far exponentially more than having one, kind of anchor investment of $1 billion. Because obviously, like the problems of our nation is employment, etc., culture, so on and so forth. But even if I pursued them for more than 4 to 6 months to take the next steps, they really could never prioritize this and bring it on the top of their priority. And they always were kind of going into a wild goose chase of getting that $1 billion investment instead of going and seeking up the $110 million in each investment. So the point that I was trying to make by this reference is that, if we can find a mechanism by which we can align the incentive or the disincentive, as you said, Mansee, about the rewards and the punishments that it brings, with the real objective of the stakeholders, which is the sponsor, the decision makers, the people who are going to be impacted by the presence or the disappearance of that lake, then I think it will become quite easier to solve a problem. I have the first leg of my own career, I have spent 10 years of my early career in remediation, and I must have created treatment facilities for millions of liters of wastewater. And I have, kind of first-hand experience and knowledge about how particularly enforcing agencies, that's the reason why I asked that question also, that I still fail to understand as to why governments are disposed the way they are disposed towards lake bodies or water bodies. So I think that is what I wanted to say. I hope that has some relevance to the discussion in this room.
Absolutely. I think water is just a demonstration. You talk about democracy. In fact, we do have an agenda to talk about water democracy,
Yes,
as one of our topics.
But
you explained it in very good financial terms. Yes, so over to you, Megha. Thank you.
And like ma'am, you also said that, the value of water needs to be seen as an entire entity and not only as the water that is used commercially or that can be used, as Akshay also highlighted, that if the value is seen as the entire biodiversity or the entire ecology that survives on the resource, then it is far more valuable, and maybe that will get people more attention, make people more aware of what they are losing actually. Because right now, even the awareness is limited to what they are losing in this. If the lake is not surviving, people don't take it. People just feel that, oh, it's okay, we'll not be affected by it so much. It's just one another lake. So that approach really needs looking deep into it. And I think today's session has really helped us in getting more insights of governance and how community plays a very important role in the sustainability part of the lake. I would like to thank everyone, and I would like to also apologize that we took this too far, but I'm sure that everybody was interested in hearing the entire session. And I would like to let everyone know that we also have another session lined up on next Wednesday, which is going to be on water and heritage. And we'll be soon posting details about it. And we look forward to having all of you again and have an active participation and discussion, which was very interesting today. I would like to thank Madhulika ma'am, Mansee ma'am, and Richa. Thank you for your questions and getting Madhulika's ma'am story to us, and Mansee ma'am sharing your insights on different aspects that go in sustainability and survival of a lake. So, yes, that's it. I would like to
everybody, please take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. You did a wonderful job, Megha. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, presenters, for joining us today and enlightening us with your wisdom. Also, thank you all the participants for joining us and making the session interactive. Besides walking and talking water, worries and wisdoms collectively, we see this as a platform to cross-connect and expand our network and explore possible collaborations. We are also making notes to publish both scientific and non-scientific work. Here is a glimpse of some of our writings. You may reach us through email, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also look at our website www.w4w.in. We look forward to your suggestions and comments to make the series more meaningful and engaging. And meanwhile, we hope that you appreciate today's session. We represent Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Hyderabad, Terry School of Advanced Studies, New Delhi, Environmental Design Consultants, Ahmedabad, FluxGen Sustainable Technologies, Bangalore, Counterview, and we are supported by Wiki's Water Resources Council. We truly appreciate your support and encouragement in conducting this series, and we hope that you will stay tuned with us through our social media platforms and our website, and you will write to us at our email IDs.